get right. Congratulations to the Oakland Golden Grizzlies. They are heading on to the championship game of the Horizon League tournament with tonight's win over Northern Kentucky. If for those of you that are attendees on our press conference Zoom, please raise your hand if you've got a question. I'll call on you. I'll unmute your feed and you can ask your question plus a follow-up. If you simply want to post your question in the chat, I'm happy to read it for you. Coach, let's get started with you. Just kind of an opening comment and thoughts about your team moving on to the championship game.
My thing says I'm muted. Am I not? I'm good.
You're not. You're good.
Okay, thanks. Extremely happy. I think that, at Oakland in my time, we've won a lot of very important, a lot of big basketball games. But I would tell you that this is the first time in all those years of going to championships and tournaments and things like that, that we've ever won a game because of our defense. We've won games because of defensive stops or plays, but I thought we played 40 minutes of just unbelievable defense. Our zone, I thought, was tremendous. We made them play 45 feet from the basket. And I thought Micah Parrish was outstanding on the outside. And then Trey and Dan just, rebounding and playing at the rim. I was just ecstatic about us defensively. And when you shoot free throws and do some of the things we did in a pressure situation like that, you need something to hang your hat on, and we hung it on our defense tonight.
All right, Tony Paul, you go ahead and unmute yourself. I see you've got a question. You go right ahead.
Yeah, well, you basically answered my question, Greg. In my early story, I wrote that it might be the best defense you've ever seen. So I appreciate you confirming that from your team. But is it kind of, did you expect something along those lines? Is there something that you saw that made you believe the defense would be the key tonight?
Well, we've really grown with that zone, and the story. I mean, we never play zone, and we had 3 days to prepare for a basketball game at the beginning of the season, and with a whole new team and all these young guys, you can't teach man-to-man defensive principles in 3 days. So we threw a zone in, and we liked it so much, we just said, you know what, and we've played it all year, and we saw it get better and better and better. The back-to-backs really hurt you defensively because they see on Friday night, they saw what they could do against the zone, and then the next day they did it. And so to just play a team one time and then go get somebody the next day in the tournaments, I think we've seen our defenses. It was outstanding against Youngstown, and it was even better tonight.
Tony, you got a follow-up?
Yeah, just one quick one. Just the free throws. I mean, how much do you have to keep yourself from going insane on the sideline when that's going on?
Say it again, Tony. It broke up in my ear.
Yeah, the free throws. How much do you have to keep yourself from going crazy when you're watching?
If this had been a regular season game, Dan could tell you that the timeouts and there would have been a lot of problems. But I can't tell them to go on to the next play and then not coach that way. And in postseason, you have to have a short memory. You've got to go on to the next play. Otherwise you're going to lose. And so it was just, don't worry about it. Let's get a stop. Let's make it up. Let's go to the next play. But, our freshmen played like freshmen tonight, Tony. That's the first time I've seen Trey and Micah. I thought were a little bit, the pressure of what they're really doing. I mean, what they've done is unbelievable. And the pressure of it was a little too much for them tonight. And they fought through it. And by the end, they were really good. But Dan here, he saved us, and Rashad and Jay, those 3 guys just played outstanding and took over when we had to, when things went wrong.
Matt Dudek, go right ahead.
Hey, Greg, you're known around Oakland for having the saying about there's 2 things that don't last, dogs that chase cars and teams that don't make free throws. Have you ever pulled out a game like this, shooting as poorly from the line as you guys did tonight? Is that anything in memory?
No, I have never, ever. And I told him that in the locker room. But like I said at the beginning of this, we were so good on defense. And don't forget, if this were a regular season game and we did that, we wouldn't have won. But they had a lot of pressure on them too. And they've got a lot of freshmen, and they were going through some of the same things our freshmen were going through. And, I expect my freshmen to play great tomorrow night. And if Northern Kentucky would have won, I would expect their freshmen to play great, because you've never experienced this. And until you do, the amount of pressure that's on these young men is unbelievable. And for a freshman, it's something they've never felt in their lives. And so that's what happened. And the free throws, even Rashad missed at the end. It was just one of those days. Jalen came over to me late in the game and said, there's something wrong with that rim. He had one bang in and come out, and he was blaming the rim. And I loved hearing that because, I don't think Tiger Woods has ever blamed himself on any bad shot. So, that's what the great ones do. They blame something else. So I was glad to hear it. And I know tomorrow night he'll make it.
Matt, you got to follow up?
I do. Dan, what does it mean for you guys that are holdovers from last year to be able to get a chance at a Horizon League championship tomorrow and to see Cleveland State for a third time this year?
It means a lot. Last year coming off a loss to Green Bay, and then this brand new team and this brand new defense. Just going out there and like competing. It means a lot. And we're excited. I think we're ready for it.
Bob McDonald, go ahead.
This question is for Dan. Dan, you kind of basically set up residents on both sides, on the paint in both sides. And that's especially against a guy like the caliber of Adrian Nelson, that's pretty hard to do. How important was that to kind of establish your presence against, especially, a Northern Kentucky team that has a good front court presence and, basically dominate?
A lot of that goes to coach. The preparation, the game plan was to just beat up Nelson, seal him, set screens on him the whole night. And I think we did a pretty good job of that. He got worn out at the end there, and we just kept attacking him. And it was a great victory, as you can see.
Bob, you got to follow up?
Nope.
Bob, thank you very much. All right, let me get to Dan Fenner. Dan, if you want to unmute yourself, go right ahead.
Yeah, question for Greg. Last week you spoke about the uniqueness of playing a team in the tournament for the first time this year. With hindsight now, how did that week of prep go? And do you feel like your unfamiliarity helped you tonight?
Well, I think that it was weird. It was more weird for the players than me because I had watched every Northern Kentucky game all year because as we prepared for teams, I wanted to see what the teams did against a zone. And Northern Kentucky and Detroit were the two teams in the league that would play some zone. So I would watch all those Northern Kentucky games. So I knew their players probably as good as anybody. And so I felt really comfortable with our game plan. And what I was really pleased with was the way that we executed our game plan. And, we really, really made it tough for Warwick tonight to get going. And our guys knew where he was and he had to put it on the floor. The only open looks he got were from really deep. And, the chances of the percentages, he'll make some of those, but I'll live with that. And so we did a great job. We knew that one of them was going to get going and Faulkner was the one that did, but I didn't care because mostly he was in the middle of the paint and getting short, easy shots, which I was fine with that because we had a lead. If the game had been tight or something like that, we might have made some adjustments on Faulkner. But because we had the lead and the three was what I was scared of, that's how he was able to get going. So it was weird, Dan. It was really weird, but it worked out for us.
Dan, you got a follow up?
Yeah, I would just ask your thoughts on Cleveland State tomorrow night and how far you may have progressed in the month since you played them last.
Well, the funny thing was I told my team we lost on a game at the second time we played him in the arena. There was a mistake an official made that unfortunately it cost us the basketball game with 1 second to go in the game. Well, the game should have gone to overtime. And these things happen. And so I told my team in the locker room, I said, we are going to play Cleveland State in a championship game. I told them that day. So now they think I'm pretty smart. I'm not, but they might think I am. Do you, Dan?
Yeah, I think you're smart.
Boy, I like that. So we've been waiting for a chance to play them again. They're the number 1 seed. They'll be a heavy favorite, and we'll show up. We will be here tomorrow night.
Let's get to Kyle Craven. Kyle, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach Campy. I wouldn't have asked you this question if I hadn't listened to your show this week on the radio and heard that you were a journalism major. So I got to ask you, this year has seemed, or this tournament anyway, for you guys has seemed a little bit like the year of redemption. You guys beat Youngstown State. You guys beat us, Northern Kentucky. Sorry, I should have specified. And then now you guys go in and play Cleveland State as well to sort of close the book on these last few years of, I don't want to say shortcomings in the tournament, but I would say upsets probably. Yeah, sure. So I was just curious.
We deserve it.
So I was just curious, like, I mean, have you given any thought to that at all? Or are you just so hyper focused on just getting to the next game? I only ask you because you alluded to sort of having like a big picture scope of basketball and storylines and stuff like that on the show.
There is absolutely no question that when I saw this thing line up, that I knew that there could be a chance. Now, I did not expect Wright State to lose, but I thought we'd get at least 2 of the 3 and to line, the 3 straight years in Cleveland where we took a really good team the 3 straight years in Detroit where we took a really good team into the tournament. As the number 1 seed, Youngstown beat us on a layup at the buzzer. Then the following year, Cleveland State, who had been the 8th seed, upset Northern Kentucky. And in the semifinals, Kendrick Nunn, who's turned out to be a really good player, obviously, had 3 open shots in the last minute, missed all 3, and we lost by 1 to Cleveland State. And then what Drew McDonald did to us 2 years ago. All 3 of those losses are burned in my memory. And the fact that we were going to get a chance to play all those 3 teams, that I knew that. Yep, I knew that. I will say something else to you, Kyle. I don't know if you know this, but 24 years ago to the date, we played Northern Kentucky in the Division II NCAA Sweet 16, and they beat us that day. They went to the Elite 8 and we went home. 24 years ago to the day.
I saw that today, thanks to Don Owen, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't just Drew McDonald I was thinking about.
Kyle, anything else for us?
Yeah, just one quick follow-up. Coach, I'm just curious for the fans, if you can kind of explain the process going into this tournament. I know you guys dealt with a lot of back-to-backs this year, obviously, with the way the season was structured. Was your focus solely on NKU coming into this game, and then we'll just do a crash course on whoever we play? Or did you have some assistant coaches, doing scouts for the other teams to set up game plans? Like, can you give us some background without giving anything away, obviously, on how that process works?
We did not even come and watch the first game today. We were solely focused. Northern Kentucky has owned this tournament. They've won it 3 of the last 4 years, 2 consecutive years. They've got some great, Warwick and Faulkner are just unbelievable players in this league. We had no thoughts on anything. I wouldn't let anybody even talk about Tuesday night. Our whole week was set up on playing Northern Kentucky. Now, we'll be up all night, as Cleveland State will be, and we'll be ready tomorrow because we've played them. So I'm not concerned about the prep for tomorrow. I was concerned about staying focused and beating the champion. We just beat the defending 2-time champion. And that was going to take a Dan Oladapo playing out of his mind. And it did. And he did. And now we move on.
Tony, Paul, we'll let you ask your follow-ups and we'll let these guys go work on scouting or go get some rest. Tony, go right ahead.
Yeah, one for each of you really quick. Greg, did you kind of change things up? Did you kind of want to focus a little bit more on getting the ball inside in the second half?
Did you hear the question? I couldn't hear.
Did he?
Basically wanted to see if getting the ball inside was more of a focus for you guys in half number 2.
The whole game, Dan spoke earlier when he said our game plan was to play from the rim out. What we didn't want to do is fall into a zone game against a zone team and 2-zone and 3-point shooting. And we really wanted to have less than 23s in this game. We ended up with 19. We wanted them to shoot more than 30, and they did. So our game plan was that, and it came to fruition. We wanted, when Dan said we wanted to beat Nelson up, we wanted to hit him on every possession. We wanted somebody to go in and screen him and the other big come off, then post him. All right. And then even if the ball wasn't even across half court yet, we wanted to hit him and post him and hit him and post him and get him mad, get him tired of being hit, get him out of this game. And we thought that if we could tire him out, that, Dan's really good with the ball in there, and we're stupid if we don't give it to him. And Jalen gets a lot of assists because of it. So it's an easy sell to my players, but that was the game plan. Beat him up, throw it into Dan, shoot less than 23s, have them shoot more than 33s. It worked tonight.
Tony, go ahead with your last follow-up.
Yeah, Dan, so you, we talked earlier this week, but you pretty sold on Campy being a smart guy now after his game tonight? You can
Yeah,
be,
man.
you can be honest. It's okay.
Nah, yeah, man. He's a smart coach. He knows what he's doing, and he's been winning for a lot of years. So I got trust in him. I got trust in our whole coaching staff. So yeah.
And Greg, I was there 24 years ago at Nickerson Hall when you played Northern Kentucky in that Division II regional final because you beat my alma mater as the 1 seed the night before. So trust me, that night is seared into my brain.
Indianapolis, yeah, they were a great team. That we were very fortunate. Northern Kentucky cheated us that night, though. They cheated.
Kevin Kovacs was something special. I'll give you that much.
Thank you,
Guys,
guys.
go enjoy it. We'll see you tomorrow night. All right, folks, we're joined by Northern Kentucky head coach Darren Horn and Northern Kentucky guard Trayvon Faulkner after tonight's loss to Oakland. We'll open it up for questions. Again, if you have a question for a coach or student athlete, please raise your hand or simply post your question in the chat function and we'll get to you. Coach, let's start with just an opening statement. Your thoughts about tonight's unfortunate loss to Oakland.
Yeah, I mean, give Greg and his team credit. I thought they played really well. We're really aggressive defensively. We came out early, and I thought we were a little tentative offensively, and I think that carried over to the defensive end some for us. We've been a team that has really made a lot of progress in the last 6 weeks. But a big key to that was that getting multiple contributions from people, having that third and fourth score step up for us. And tonight we didn't have that. Bryson and Trayvon scored for us, and then you look down the stat sheet and the third and fourth guy just wasn't there. But again, give Oakland credit. I thought their defense had a lot to do with that.
Bob McDonald, you go right ahead.
Coach Horn, obviously not the result that you were looking for, but the fact that you really got this season going with as many young players as you've had, with many freshmen as you had, obviously speaks volumes. Where do you see this team positioned, and how important, more to the point, how important was it to get this group together, this group of freshmen together along with the upperclassmen as kind of a foundation for your future moving forward?
Yeah, I told the guys in the locker room, don't let tonight's loss, which hurts. We felt like we had a chance to win it, like every team that gets to the semis, and don't let that take away from what they have accomplished this year. This is a group that, first of all, for all of these young people in college basketball, dealing with the COVID stuff has not been easy at all. It's been very demanding in a lot of ways, and I think impacted them in a lot of ways. And we started out with a brutal non-conference schedule, 3 on the road. It was a schedule I would not have played in a non-COVID year, but we were just trying to get games and started out the conference season a little rough. But this group just kept growing and kept coming back and working. And Trayvon and the older guys were a big part of helping the younger guys get better. And I think it's the progress we made out of the stretch prior to tonight, winning 9 out of 11 and getting those guys involved and making big plays for us. I think that that's something we can definitely build on for the future.
Bob, you got a follow-up?
I'm good.
Bob, thank you very much. All right, let's get to Matt Dudek. Matt, go right ahead with your question.
Hi, Darren. How much did not playing Oakland during the regular season affect you guys as far as getting into today, and what that prep was like for you guys?
Yeah, I don't know. They didn't get to play us either, right? I think that the biggest thing is they like us. They play a little bit of a different defense, and we haven't always been great against that this year. And I thought we got some great looks, especially in the second half, and just didn't shoot the ball well. But some of that is probably being taken out of rhythm by then. So. Even if you see a team, and we talked to our guys about this before and after the game, you still got to come out and play the game. That's what March is all about. And you got to find a way, whether it's going good or it's pretty or it's ugly, to just keep chipping away and trying to find a way to do things that can win the game. And we just didn't do enough of those things tonight. So, playing against them, maybe we would have seen it and had a little bit better feel, but, they didn't get to play against us either. They just played better tonight.
Matt, you need a follow-up?
I do. Greg earlier, or just before this, mentioned that he didn't think his freshmen played very well. How do you think Warwick played tonight? Do you think the spotlight just got to him a little bit, or was it just kind of one of those nights for him?
Well, it wasn't the spotlight. I can promise you that. I've never been around a young man that likes the big moment more than Marquez does. I just think he didn't play well. Never got in rhythm tonight. But I think you look. I mean, it's tournament time. Look down the stat sheet and see who played well. It was the older guys. I thought his freshmen looked fine. He knows his team better than I do. But our freshmen were not great tonight. None of them were near as productive as they have been or are capable of being. And so. Old favors or March favors old. And, tonight I think it showed that.
Kyle Craven, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Coach. On that note, actually, so I did some math early in the season. Coming into this season, you guys had, I believe it was around like 8 D1 seasons total on your team. So, the equivalent of basically a second semester freshman, right? In fact, even tonight, you guys, when Adrian got banged up a little bit there, I looked at the court and I saw 4 freshmen and Trayvon, and 2 of those freshmen were walk-ons. And so it's just, it seems like it's been that kind of a season. I was wondering, is this the youngest team that you've ever coached, or at least is this the of all the teams you've coached, can you remember a team where you've had to rely on youth as much as you've had to rely on it this year?
No, it's definitely the youngest team that in terms of relying on guys and not just individuals, but the volume of, as you mentioned, we've had basically 5 of those guys in some form or fashion in the rotation. 3 of them have been a pretty big part of it, especially here in the last few weeks. And so, again, that's why, at the end of the day, we don't love this loss. I mean, we believe we play for championships in Northern Kentucky. But still really proud of what this team was able to do in terms of the progress we made and how we finished the year prior to tonight's game, because, we are playing a lot of young guys. And I think it goes, overlooked too. It's a lot to ask guys like Trayvon and Bryson, who were in roles last year, secondary roles, to step up and be leaders and be guys that produce at a high level every night and help the young guys come along. And both of those guys really grew in that and really produced. And so really proud of what they did as well.
Kyle, you need to follow up?
I do. And I understand if you guys don't want to take this right now, right after a loss, but I will be tracking you down and asking you about it sometime. One thing that people have been talking about this year is, eventually it's felt like we got to have a down year at some point, right? And Coach, this actually precedes you, so I want to bring Trayvon in on it a little bit. But it just seems like every year we've had something kind of crazy happen, whether it was a coaching change. Last year we lost a bunch of our upperclassmen, have a completely young team this year, and I think, I think a lot of fans would see this season as a success. And I'm just curious, like, there's obviously something more there than just the players that wear the jersey and the coaches that coach. I'm just curious if there's anything you guys can speak to about the culture that has been built at this school and within this program that's has us in a good position for long-term success. I don't know if that question makes sense, but.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, it's a place where basketball matters, and I think, everything rises and falls with leadership. We've got great leadership, I mean, Kim Butoff is fantastic. His staff is terrific. The president that I work for now, I can't speak to previous ones, is very supportive and understands the value of our program to the university and the student athlete experience. And it's a place where people care. I mean, you go back well before Division I times, and it was a place that played for national championships. And I think it's, because of that, there's a commitment to it and an expectation that this is what you do. I mean, we had a really young team and lost a ton, and I think 70% of our scoring and assists and 50% of our rebounding, but our locker room expected to be back in this position. And so I don't know, I guess Trayvon can touch on that if he wants, but I just think it's a commitment level where it's a place that cares.
Yeah, just going off what Coach said, it is a winning place, people that care, just like a family atmosphere, that they want you to do good, and just they're very supportive.
Trayvon, I'll jump in here and ask a question in terms of just, there's a lot of sacrifices that student athletes have to go through every year in a normal year. Clearly, this was not a normal year. What was that process like for you? All the other things that you and your teammates had to do just to be able to have the season that you did. Just kind of your thoughts on that.
It was just a kind of a learning process for our team. We kind of understood that it was going to be hard, and we wasn't the only team that was going through that. It was just like I said, just a learning process, and we had to go through the ups and downs to get where we are. And I'm happy that with our season, but I'm just sad for how it ended, and we'll be back next year.
And final thing, Coach, just a quick thought on not asking you for a prediction, but just quick thoughts on the two teams left standing, Cleveland State and Oakland, for the league championship.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a terrific matchup because it's a real contrast, right? It's a contrast in styles and how both of them want to be good. It's a contrast in not that Oakland doesn't have some good older players; they've got some terrific older players, but they play quite a bit of youth too. And if I'm not mistaken, Cleveland State's the oldest team in the league, or right up there, and very physical, wants to pound you, and Oakland does not necessarily play that way. And so I think it's going to be a really, really good basketball game. And I think it'll showcase our league well. You've got, a bright young coach in Dennis Gates, who's done a phenomenal job, and kind of the czar of the league, and Campy, who's, you look where he's ranked all time. I think people will be surprised at where he is. He's kind of above a lot of big names that people respect. Greg's a terrific coach, been doing it a long time. And so I think they'll represent the league well, and it'll be a really good game.
As we're about to hit midnight, that's a good time to close up shop for the day. Fellas, congratulations on completing your season, and best of luck next year.
Thank you.
And then we'll close it down for our press conference today. We will talk to you tomorrow after the women's championship game at approximately 2:00.